Hello friends, this reflection is for Corpus Christi Sunday. The Gospel of John gives us a very good image of what Christ is, and some people are thinking, are Catholics cannibalists? Well, that's not the case. In fact, if you look at John 6 and the discourse about him being the living bread, we sometimes think, that can't be, but Jesus is the Eucharist, and he instituted the night before he died, let alone the holy priesthood. As Archbishop Charles Chaput once said, without priests, there could be no Eucharist. And without the Eucharist, there could be no God. St. Thomas Aquinas reminds us that spiritual food is necessary for the spiritual life to such an extent that without it, the spiritual life cannot be sustained. We need food to sustain ourselves. We need water to sustain our bodies. The Eucharist sustains the spiritual side of our bodies, our souls, as we hunger for Christ. St. Thomas Aquinas continues that his flesh is true food because it is the food of the soul, not just of the body. When reflecting on the blood of Christ, St. John Chrysostom reminds us that the blood at once refreshes the soul and instills a certain great power in it. This blood, when worthily received, drives away demons and puts them at a distance from us, and even summons to us angels and the Lord of angels. On this great solemnity, friends, we are reminded that we receive Christ. And every time we receive Christ, we become like him. And every time we go out into the world, we carry a monstrance with us after receiving Christ in the most holy sacrament of the altar, the Holy Eucharist. St. John Paul the Great reminds us that the Church does not only celebrate the Eucharist, but solemnly bears it in procession, publicly proclaiming that the sacrifice of Christ is for the salvation of the whole world. Christ gave his life for each and every one of us. Every time we receive the Eucharist, our hearts will be full of joy. Some of us may recall a few years ago where we went through a period where we did not receive the Eucharist at all because of the draconian lockdowns, and of course there was nothing to be alarmed about. It was all fake. But of course we were deprived of the sacraments because the clergy weren't brave enough to stand tall and said that these sacraments were essential. We pray that God will have mercy on them. The Eucharistic faith calls us to rejoice. And we call to also to devote ourselves to this great sacrament. J.R.R. Tolkien, in his letter to his son, wrote, "Out of the darkness of my life, so much frustration, I put before you the one great thing to love on earth, the Blessed Sacrament. There you will find romance, glory, honor, fidelity, and the true way of all your loves on earth." The sequence of Corpus Christi summarizes so well. Jesu, of your love befriend us. You refresh us, you defend us. Your eternal goodness send us in the land of life to see. As we celebrate this great mystery of the Holy Eucharist, the body and blood of Christ, let us do things in memory of him. As St. Albert the Great also tells us, it is also a memorial of his most bitter passion, which he endured for us, as if to say, compare your sufferings in sorrow and your poverty and bitterness to mine, and consider me, God, owing nothing to anyone in comparison to you, man, owing all compassion, and then tell if you have anything which can compare, and you will see that nothing is left to you but to love and give thanks. The Greek word for Eucharist is Eucharista, and it literally means thanksgiving. So as Catholics, we celebrate Thanksgiving every time we attend Mass, when we receive Jesus' most precious body and blood. And every time we receive it, we carry a monstrance with us everywhere we go. And that monstrance has to be shared. St. Carlo Acutis reminded us that the Eucharist is the highway to heaven. Let us strive for what is higher, friends. Let us strive to be on the highway that would lead us to God. The Eucharist is life. And that life is to be given to others in return. God bless.